Hello, everyone. I just want to talk to you today about weather in aviation. Today, I want to give you a little bit insight into aviation weather, how we handle it as pilots, and why it's actually a routine and well-managed part of every flight. We know that weather can cause some concerns to you, but rest assured, safety is always our first priority. Let's talk about some of the equipment that's on the airplane in just about every cockpit. Modern airplanes are equipped with highly sophisticated weather radar systems and sensors. We also receive constant weather updates by radio and onboard systems, in addition to flight dispatchers that give us information for the entire flight from beginning to end and what's expected to happen throughout the flight and when we get to destination, no matter how long that flight is. Okay, these tools generally allow us to spot severe weather well in advance, so we're almost never surprised by anything during the flight. But things do pop up at times. Thunderstorms pop up. Weather systems are always moving. The earth is rotating. Air is always moving. Things change. As the winds change, oftentimes, the weather patterns change. Avoiding thunderstorms is made much easier with onboard radar systems that can show us the exact location of strong cells, as we call them, and you simply avoid them, you fly around them. In cases where there are too many together and they form a weather front, sometimes they require you to go out of your way, maybe hundreds of miles in the extreme cases. So you don't fly through them, you fly around them. Everybody wants to do that. If you look at weather throughout the different phases of flight, you got, our portion where we take off and we're climbing out. And before departure, we check the local weather and the route weather to make sure it's okay to leave the airport. If there's a problem at the airport, well, that'll incur delay. That typically happens when you've got thunderstorms or a case of very, very high wind conditions. That tends to delay things. If you're looking at the cruise portion of the flight where you're straight and level, that's generally going to be, you're above most of the weather. When you're above like 30,000 feet or so, you're above most of it, with the exception of thunderstorms that you can't really top in a commercial airplane for the most part. So again, we fly around them. Severe turbulence, those kinds of things, sometimes that can catch you by surprise. So you're always told to keep your seatbelt fastened whenever possible, because you never know. When it comes to descent and landing, same thing. We get real-time updates on weather at the destination. If conditions change, we typically have backup plans. In the extreme case, when you can't land at the airport that you want to go to, you may have to go to your alternate. There's always an alternate airport that's part of the route of flight if it's necessary. Nobody wants to do a weather diversion, but sometimes it's required. You just have to go. You only have a certain amount of gas. Oftentimes, airplanes will get holding instructions and go into a holding pattern and wait for the bad weather to pass. Usually when you have a dynamic weather system, it's usually moving. And if you got a little extra gas, you go into a holding pattern and you can delay for 15, 20 minutes. Oftentimes the weather will pass and you can come in without a hitch. And it gets more complicated if you go into an airport that's very, very busy. There are a lot of airplanes trying to do the same thing. Everybody's delayed and you have to wait your turn. And that's causes situations when fuel becomes a problem. And sometimes we don't have enough fuel to hold as long as necessary. And that requires a diversion. You have to go somewhere else to get refueled and come back to the destination when the weather improves. When you look at snow and ice, nobody likes snow and ice. It causes problems just as with automobiles, with airplanes, same thing. You've got tires on concrete runways and problems with surface friction and the ability to stop and control movement. So with ice, there's thick ice, there's not much you can do. But with snow can be removed. When there's snow and ice, we have ground teams that use specialized fluid to clear the aircraft of any ice or snow on the airplane. You need to do that so that it flies properly, simply. This can take a lot of time. Depending on the airplane, it can take a lot of time, but it's vital for the safe flight. So if you're flying in the wintertime and you see them spraying the plane with fluid, and maybe before you get on the plane or even after you get on the plane, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Give rid of the snow and ice and let the airplane fly as an airplane. If conditions change, sometimes you have to go back and get de-iced a second time in extreme conditions. But the fluids that are used typically don't last forever, and there's an expiration time or a holdover time where if that time is exceeded, the airplane needs to be treated again. If you're looking at just the visibility and ceiling, we can talk about that. The ability to see is very, very important on the ground as well as in the air, but more so on the ground. Our instrument systems allow us to fly in any condition, whether we can see or not, day or night, good weather, bad weather, in the clouds, out of the clouds. The instruments work pretty much all the time. But on the ground, it's a little bit different, and that you can have delays when the visibility is low. Since everybody can't see each other, everything has to slow down, and that affects your takeoffs and your landing. So be patient. Expect when the weather is not perfect, and particularly when it's imperfect, expect delays. Most modern airports have instrument landing systems that guide us down precisely whenever it's foggy, whenever it's overcast, at night, bad weather, it could be dust, snow, whatever. The systems will put you right on the center line of the runway for a consistent touchdown. Again, thunderstorms are carefully monitored. When needed, they'll change the route. Sometimes they'll have a massive route change. If there's a common air route that is no longer safe because of all the hazardous weather in front of it, well, they'll just make another route. It's another reason that we carry extra fuel just in case. Your comfort and safety always come first, and modern radar lets us avoid the worst of the stuff. We talked earlier about turbulence. Turbulence is, it's unsettling. It can be dangerous. Mostly it's dangerous if you are not sitting down with your seatbelt fastened. But the airplanes are built to withstand tremendous amounts of turbulence and severe weather, and they're inspected periodically to make sure everything stays together. So again, when you see the wings bouncing up and down or whatever, they're made to do that. There's a reason for that. And actually, the more they do that, take that impact, the less impact that you would take if they didn't flex. We look at runway conditions. There's always an analysis of the runway. Is it safe to use in terms of the amount of water, snow, or ice on it? There are times when there's almost no ability to stop the airplane on a particular runway. They call that nil braking action. Nil meaning zero. We don't use that runway. So typically if you've got really a lot of bad weather coming down and snow plows are going, the airports may use all their resources to have one runway clear for takeoff and landing. All of them if they can, but if they really get stretched to the max, they may use all their resources to have one clear runway or do the best that they can. So every weather-related decision, even if it means a delay or diversion, is made for your safety. The pilots and crews are committed to safe and comfortable flying just as much as you are. Everybody wants to get there safely and on time. So if you find yourself going to the airport and things don't look great and your plane is scheduled to be on time, don't be surprised if there is a delay. If there is a delay, that's just the way it goes sometimes. But again, this is for your safety. A little patience will help a lot. Sit back, relax, take a deep breath. Enjoy your trip.